All right, hi everybody. So this is Excel 1-2, in which we will be doing how to get around Excel, how to get around in the spreadsheet. Hide that, there we go. And how to put some basic data entry type stuff in. So there are a lot of shortcuts in Excel, and it's actually designed so that you do not need to use a mouse. Everything you do in Excel can be done with the keyboard, although when you're not familiar with it or you're not very comfortable, it could be more, it could be quicker for you to use a mouse because you know where to click, as opposed to being extremely comfortable with a keyboard and doing it that way. But I'm going to show you where I can. I'm going to try to show you as many keyboard shortcuts as possible so you can keep the mouse use to a minimum. In fact, if you're really good with using your keyboard, it actually slows you down having to move your hand from the keyboard to the mouse and back and forth. If you just keep your fingers on the keyboard all the time and you're able to do that, you can move much more quickly. So some of the basic things: navigation. Using the arrow keys on the bottom right of the keyboard, you can move around. I'm hitting the up, down, left, and right arrows, and it moves around one cell at a time. You also could move faster than that if you wanted to move multiple cells at a time. You can hold down the control key and hit the arrows, and that will jump all the way to the end of the screen. And that might not seem very useful because jumping all the way to row 1,048,000 is far out of what data you're working with, but it actually works better if you have information to work with. So let's say I have something on here in row 15. I have some point of data, it doesn't matter what it is. And in column J, I have another point of data. And I'm actually going to go down to J15 as well and make a square out of this. And then I have data in the first one. So let's say I have some sort of data set up in a big rectangle shape like that. If I use my control arrow key, it will snap to that data point. I just move the control to the right, control arrow down, control arrow left, control arrow up, and I can jump around from one data point to the other. If I were to be on J1 and hit control arrow to the right, it'll jump all the way over to the end again. But in this case, if I want to snap to whatever data I'm working with, it's easier than having to hit down, 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 down over and over again until I get to the next point. So that's one quick way to move. If I wanted to do that snap option while highlighting as well, I just hold down Control and Shift together and then hit the arrow keys. And that'll highlight everything between where my mouse is and where it ends when I hit the arrow key. So if I'm on A1 and I hold down Control Shift right, or hold down Control Shift but then press the right arrow key one time, it'll highlight just the row 1 between A and J, because that's where my data is. And then I could again hold down Control Shift while all of that is highlighted and hit the down arrow key one time, and that will highlight down until it hits the next data point as well. So that's a quick way to be able to move around, to be able to highlight information as you're doing things. And then I could do anything I want with this information. I could hit the delete key and delete all of it at once. I could hit Control Z to undo that. If I wanted to enter multiple points of data into this area at one time, you see I have an entire rectangle highlighted, and those four corners all say data, but maybe I want every single cell to say data. Since I have this whole area highlighted, I can just type in DATA and then hit, I think it's Shift Enter? No, Control Enter probably. Data, Control Enter, there we go. Control Enter will fulfill that same word, whatever information I typed, into everything that I have highlighted. So that's one option to do that. So if I have any kind of data, I can snap to it by using the arrow key with Control, and I can highlight all of it with Shift, Control, and with Control Enter, I can enter the same number into all of those cells. So that's basics of moving around. So we'll do a little bit of data entry as well. So let's say, since we're business majors for the most part, let's say that we have an income statement. So we have income, expenses, and then what would be net income. Let's say net income. So let's say we have some income. We'll say it's $100. We have some expenses. We'll say it's $75. Our net income in that case would be $25 because 100 minus 75 is 25. Now that's fine, but what if I don't want to just type in a number? I want the Excel. What Excel is good at, I was about to say what Excel excels at, is doing math for you and doing it quickly. So I could do a function, which is telling Excel to solve a problem for me. I can do that by typing the equals sign and then referencing a cell. So what I can do is type equals B2, and that B2 is where my number 100 is, and then subtract the minus sign B3, and that's where my expenses are, and then hit enter, and it tells me the answer is 25. If I change this to 200 minus 75, the answer is 125. So that's the basics of just data entry. We'll go into much more complex stuff in a little bit, but I just want to keep this one simple. That's navigation and data entry. And I'll see you on 1-3 on the next one, where we go more in depth into data.